inside for Albert. Albert will get the score. It's farewell. He tapped into a legend and probably rugby league immortality. That's not a try, that's a miracle.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast brought to you by Neds. Another episode of Take the Two this week. My partner in crime, Jamie Soward, coming off, mate, you see in Origin, like when Joey was out in an Origin series, another halfback would have to come in, you'd be like, oh, they're doing good, but they're not quite Joey, you know? That's what I felt like watching you on the show on Monday.
Oh,
Had
really?
to step into the King's boots, yeah. How'd you go? How'd you handle it?
Oh, this is on the bloke pod. Yeah, it was good. I got a lot of touches early.
You did.
Kempy, usually I'm firing it to Kempy, but he was firing it to me. Timmy Williams, I tried to give him a few Supercoach tips. He didn't want to hear it. And, it was nice to talk different style where I said gave our show a plug. We're like footy nuffies. Like ours is deep. Yeah, deep into the glutes of a rub down just before you run out, not the calves.
Yeah.
Like Kempy
like
gets his
that.
calves rubbed, you know.
Yeah,
like ours is
he's
deep.
a big calf guy.
It's a bit show, puts a bit of oil on the calves. Ours is deep, getting some muscle treated.
Yeah, he's a baby cow guy, Kempy. But, mate, you did well on there. It's not easy. People think it's a walk in the park. It's a tough gig, the Monday podcast.
Yeah,
Very
it is. I thought listening to you the week before and then listening to me, God, we're similar.
Probably too similar.
Too similar. We need a little bit more banter / attacking each other.
I'm happy to play.
Yeah, I know.
Let's fuck, eh? No good. Now, the one and only Kat, her dad, she's not in today. She's off at a wedding or gallivanting, doing something. So we had to call in the big guns. Winston Neville, mate, how are you? Welcome on.
Yeah, you've called in the big dogs for sure. Being here, it feels weird being in Kat's place, having watched the show, and usually cut to Kat now. But happy to be here, honoured to be here. To be honest,
You know what I like about Winston?
It's a long list, but hit me.
He wore the same bike shorts that Kat wore just to try and fit in today, which was good because I've seen him.
An early drive.
I've seen him and I just no, it's not a drive-by, it's a torpedo. He just has to sit under it. He's caught it, and the pressure's coming from kick out.
Surely, I think I pull him off.
You've got better legs.
Mate, give it to him whenever you can, okay? Get one back on him. Before we do get started, your Bulldogs, mate, undefeated. The old Phil Gould saying, at this point of the year, everyone's won one, everyone's lost one. You're the only team not to have lost one. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out who's actually going to beat us at this stage. It looks like nobody can. I think I'm just enjoying the 5-0. We haven't been 6-0 since 1938. There's a stat for you. Wow. So if we can beat Souths on Good Friday, it'll be huge, but I'm just enjoying it.
When do you play Melbourne? How far away is
we
it?
don't play Melbourne until round 25. Oh. So it'll be a fun ride, yeah.
I think the test for the Dogs is the Good Friday one off a bye. That's a game they should win. Now, there's not games where you're going, oh, we're not really sure about the Dogs. These are some of the games, like Sunday night, we both said this is a game they should win. So when does that expectation return to, holy shit, we are really, really good? And they know that, but when you turn up to the game and the other teams in the sheds going, how are we going to win? Versus the Dogs going, hey, we do our job and we will win. That's where you get to.
I'll tell you what, we're obviously a preview show without previewing next week. That Good Friday game, with Canterbury having 2 weeks to prepare for that one, coming off a bye, coming up against South Sydney, who are going to have injuries galore. It's Wayne Bennett's perfect scenario there.
Hold on. So they play Good Friday.
Yeah.
We're worried about Melbourne. The week after, they're Thursday night at Suncorp for Magic Round. Before Magic Round against Brisbane. So if you're talking about clashes that you're going to be up for, if you're going to win, you're eventually going to have to win on the road somewhere at some stage, whether it's in Melbourne or wherever you finish. That could be like their mini sort of test to see where they're, not where they're really at because we know they're really good, but where they're at in terms of how we're going to handle adversity if we go up there in Suncorp, hostile environment. I think Cameron Serraldo will be looking forward to the next 2 weeks to get his troops ready to put some stuff together for the season.
Who do you play in Magic Round wins?
Titans.
Okay.
And then I think it's Raiders in Canberra the week after.
That's one of those games where you go, the Dogs should win that. You could see it being 30 all.
Yeah.
Jaden Campbell bouncing around. The week after that, they play Raiders in Canberra. So it's not just Melbourne. We know Melbourne are the favourites, but the Dogs are second favourites by far, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, let's get into some of our topics for this week. Now, I'm going to sort of hand the floor to you to direct this, mate, but we're going to talk about sort of bench selections, the
Yeah.
makeup of benches. Talk to me.
Yeah, I was calling the game Sunday afternoon at Four Pines and noticed when the team list came out that Craig Bellamy had gone for a smaller bench. Now, usually the traditional way you would go 2 front rowers to replace your 2 front rowers, and then you'd go a back rower and maybe a utility. He actually had, although Alec McDonald played in the middle, he had Tui Kamikamica, he had Bronson Garlick, Tyron Wishart, Alec McDonald, and Tua Kamikamica. They looked a lot faster through the middle of the field versus a Manly side that simply started. Brown went off the bench. I thought that was a bad mistake. When you saw what the team come out, I would have said Nathan Brown, go out there because he changed the momentum for Manly just before halftime.
Yep.
But I just wonder, we don't talk enough about benches. No show, no preview show, no review show. No one talks about how important benches could be. I just thought that was a masterstroke from Craig Bellamy, and it worked wonders for him.
I think when it comes to bench chat, I think when you get to Origin, it gets spoken about a lot.
But
that
it's
was a
so
big thing.
important now.
Oh, mate, it's so. Mate, I remember when would it have been 2020? I think it was. I was putting out my best 17 for the start of the year, and Brandon Smith was the hot thing at hooker and everything. And I just said, I'd bring him off the bench. I think I actually had Tino and him on my bench, and I remember people absolutely slamming, going, "Whoa, they're not shit players. They shouldn't be on the bench." And I was arguing back, going, being on the bench isn't about being a shit player. For me, the game's broken into 4 20-minute periods, and you've got to win those periods. And your bench makeup is just so integral nowadays. It can win and lose your games.
It can win, it can win and lose your games. But I always say to bench players when I was coaching is you've got a really important role, and they go, it's the old, I'm on the bench or I wear number 14 or 16 or whatever. You've got to either keep the momentum because we've started really well, or you've got to change the momentum. And most of the time, it's without the ball. Yeah, if you come on like Nathan Brown on the weekend, they'd had 3 tries put on him in 6-7 minutes. He has to come on and change with his defence, so he's not going to get a chance to get the ball maybe for another couple of minutes. But I was just made me think, and I said to you straight after the game, are we seeing Melbourne now? Is there a world where Nelson and Tui aren't on the bench together, and it's a McDonald like that makeup of 2 middle guys? Because Loiero played the most minutes he's played in a long time. Stefano played the most minutes he's played in a long time, up against a bigger pack, up against the Manly side who we thought were going okay. I think there's a little changing of the guard in the way that benches are selected these days. The other bench I was interested in is the Daniel Atkinson bench and the Cronulla Sharks, because he's not an out-and-out 9. Brayley plays 80 minutes. If something goes wrong, McInnes plays at 9 there. So how do they fit him into the side to do that? Are they one player short? Like, are they one forward short? So it's just an interesting point. I thought the way that benches are going these days, what is the perfect bench makeup? For me, I think how Melbourne had it on the weekend was perfect. 2 out-and-out middle guys who don't need the ball, don't need to run, but can just tackle and clean up and give you 15, 20 minutes and be happy with that. One big guy who's going to be your big guy and a utility.
I think the Sharkies one that you brought up is a really interesting point, mate, because for years, Fitzy's always run with a 4-forward bench.
Yeah.
And for me, I looked at it and went, fuck, do you need to run with 4 forwards? Like, would it not be worth having a guy off the bench to bring a bit of spark? And, mate, I was number 1 at the start of the year saying you need to have Atkinson on the bench. But I'm now watching them, and as you pointed out pre-show, they're getting bashed through the middle. And I reckon Fitzy at the start of this preseason went, you know what? We've been okay the last few years. We're now adding AFB. We'll be okay. And they're just not at the moment.
What about if I said to you, Sharks fans, get in the comments, I'm just bringing up their team from last week, is there a world where Hazelton starts, AFB and Oregon and Cam McInnes come off the bench? Because Cam McInnes he could play 80 and he could every week. I just love his foot speed through the middle, and at the start he's tackling, he's all that kind of stuff. I know he's a captain, but is there a world where Hazelton, that different type, starts with AFB, Kafusi comes off the bench, you fight fire with fire essentially, because Tarpanay and the Raiders pack bashed the Cronulla pack last week. And I know it was a tight game, but just sort of finds a way. They're finding a way for Atkinson to get into the game instead of going, okay, well, Brayley's, I think he's played 80 minutes most of his career.
He has, yeah.
So there's no need to carry extra bench play or an extra 9 when you got McInnes at 13 who can play 9 at a pinch. Parrot did on the weekend, Hopgood, and he played 9 and Riley Smith did it. I just think that we just don't pay enough attention to the bench. It was my point.
One thing that I've thought for the last few years, especially now with HIAs and sim bins and everything coming more part of the game, mate. Like I always I would always have a guy on my bench that can be we always talk about a 14 as a utility guy. I love the idea of a jersey 17 being a guy that can cover back row and centre, whether it's like, guys that come to mind are like your Nia Corres, Tommy Eisenhuth, I think those sort of body types, they're the sort of guys Orbison was one of those guys for a long time as well. And especially like in Origin teams and stuff, I would love to feature one of those guys in my side each
Well, we
week.
saw the Melbourne side, once they did pick up a couple of injuries, Cattell went to right centre. Like he's an out-and-out back rower.
Yes.
So what you're saying is those guys that can move mobility-wise, the Dogs have got it in Salmon and Kurt Mann, those guys that can play in the middle. Yeah, they've had a couple of injuries. I think it was against the Titans, and they were able to shift people around. So they've got a forward-thinking mind. But you're exactly right. Someone that can play on an edge, Luke Garner.
Yeah, Luke Garner's perfect example.
He's a perfect guy to be 17. And, I think the expectation around your bench is we don't know if you're going to play 40, 50 minutes. Some weeks you might only get 15. But I think the bench is so important and it's not talked about enough.
I'll tell you, just talking about that jersey 17, and I think more around the bench chat as well. I think teams are now actually starting to recruit bench players, like Dill Walker to me.
Perfect.
Mate, the impact he had on Dill Brown on the weekend, I thought was fucking enormous. Just coming on, he just allowed him to play his natural game. Ewan Aitken's a really good example as well. He's obviously actually playing centre for South Sydney this week.
Donahue from Dolphins.
Like all these guys that are just that they can cover so many spots, and you need to in the modern game. You've got to plan for chaos because it's happening every weekend now.
Well, you look at the Knights the other night. I didn't catch all the game, but they lost 2 guys and they sort of had middles.
Fuck, that's the guy I was trying to think of. New South Wales for me, jersey 17. If Dylan Lucas keeps his form up, I'd have to consider him. I think he'd be almost
There's not going to be
perfect
room for
role.
all of those
There's
guys
not,
that have had great years. Jacob Preston, he's a New South Welshman as well. So, but yeah, definitely Dylan Lucas, foot speed, fast, defensively really, really strong, could just shift out one position.
And just like for the makeup of your team, if you had Payne Haas and Terrell May that can play huge minutes, you had Connor Watson on your bench who can cover a lot, I think I'd be okay with having Dill Lucas and maybe 2 more middles there. I think you could make it work.
Yeah, definitely.
But like Preston's another guy. Like Winst, you can probably talk more. But I feel like if you were desperate, you had to shift him out there. I think you'd be able to do a job there.
Yeah, he covers centre for the Dogs a lot of the time. So I think he can do a job at centre.
How did the Roosters let him go?
Mate, I had someone comment the other day, I gave Wong a rap, and they sort of said, oh, yeah, but they made the decision to let Preston go to keep Wong. And I was like, no, they fucking didn't. I don't think they even realised what they had in Preston.
No.
I don't think they even looked out the window at any point.
Oh, I can't comment on that, but it's just, yeah, they don't miss many.
I remember back then, like there wasn't any chat at the Roosters about Preston. I think he was sitting at the doorstep and they didn't notice.
Yeah, I think I watched him play against Penrith in a semi-final out at for New South Wales Cup when Isaiah Cartol was playing for him, and he was just dominant that day. And I thought, oh well, he's going to be a back rower for. Like, imagine him in the Roosters side now, and Crichton the other side.
Be unreal. Yeah, mate. When you were playing bench makeup, like.
Oh, it's totally different.
Yeah, but like, how was it different? Like for people.
Well, the game was a lot slower.
Yeah,
like a lot slower. We had, I think, grand final day. We had Merrin, Safi,
Fiend or Young,
Feensy,
yeah,
and
was Trent Merrin in that side?
Yeah,
or?
Merrin was there. Oh shit! Nevin Horse started. Mick Wayman, Cray,
Jeremy
Bo
Smith,
Scott, Jeremy Smith. So our bench was Safi, Merrin, Feensy, and
I'm sure
drawing a blank
as well.
It was Fiend, Merrin, Pryor, Safi.
Matty Pryor.
He was out. He was the back row, front row, centre before it was. Sorry, Matty Pryor, 2-time premiership winner.
I was about to
Sharks Player of
say
the Year.
special slice of history. The only guy to win a comp with Cronulla and the Dragons.
Yep. Sorry, mate. But yeah, it was that was essentially 4 forwards. Like we didn't cover any outside backs because we had Bo Scott that could go there.
Yeah.
You had like those. That all comes into it, which similarly to how the Dogs are at the moment. Like a Salmon can go from middle or Preston can go to an edge. So the game's completely changed. It's so fast right now. I actually felt sorry for the Knights the other night because there should be Michael Chemist threw up. We should have 6 on the bench and you should get to use your interchanges. You can only play 4, but
He's taking my fucking idea.
Oh, he's taking your idea.
I
This is
love
your
it.
idea.
This is one I
Okay.
don't mind, and I think it's got downsides. Don't get me wrong, but I don't
It's got
mind the
tactical
idea.
sides to it that are that's interesting as well.
Well, see, I suggested this to Kempy last year, and he said it takes out the tactics. And I was like, no, I think it adds to the in-game tactics. It
Yeah.
takes away from the Tuesday tactics,
Yeah.
picking your side, but I really don't give a flying fuck about them. I want to see what you do in-game and how you react. And South Sydney in that game could have activated guys to come in and play in the halves and guys to come in and play centre, which changes everything. Instead of shifting Jai Arrow out to the centre and shit like that, it'd make it, from a betting point of view, Supercoach, all that other shit would be a nightmare, and that's what people at home will think of, my audience. But for the product of rugby league, I kind of think it's the best avenue to go down.
If you're sitting up there and you get an injury first minute, you don't want to have to put someone out there like a Jermaine McEwen and play 80 in the middle when he's an edge back rower.
Yep.
You know, Tyson Frizzell playing 70 minutes when he is an edge. He's an edge guy now. So tactically, I think it'd be outstanding for the game just to see who handles what changes. And I reckon, God, our press conferences have become boring. Like, wouldn't you love to just sit there and go, Rube, 16th minute, Cody Walker went down, you activated Jaden Sullivan, who was, in that 6. Mate, that worked out really well for her. Yeah, we had to have him on the bench, start to get... Coaches don't give much away at all, but if you had actually watched the game and you actually go, hey, mate, in the 15th minute, why'd you do that? You may get something out of them, because I think when you get press conferences, it's like, oh, mate, what'd you think? Well, we lost. Hello?
Yeah.
I'm pissed off. We won. Oh, that's great. We're not going to give you much. But if you actually pinpoint something and you ask a tactical question, they might still say no. But I reckon with the 6-man bench, it's like, oh, I did that for this.
Yeah, man, I'd love to see situations like if you're, I'm just spitting off the dome here, but if you're talking to Wolfie after a Dolphins game, you go, mate, you were down by 12, you had the option to put Trey Fuller on the bench, on the field. Why didn't you use one of yours? I used four in the first half and forwards. You go, fuck, that's poor management there.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared for this shit. I think it'd add a really good aspect to it, especially for nerds like us. Like, I'd be so intrigued every week.
Can we do
how they
polls on
manage
this
it.
show?
We can do polls.
Okay.
We
Would you
can
like
work
to see
out.
a 6-man bench? Substitutes stay the same. The interchange is 8.
Yeah.
6-man bench and see tactics in rugby league.
Let us know in the comments if you would like to see that and your thoughts, pros, cons, whatever it might be. Want to hear both sides of it because I think it'd be unreal. Zac Lomax had, up and down week, Christ. The very highs over the weekend, big game, kicking the field goal against his former club, incredible stuff, to the lows of what I believe is a fractured foot. Parramatta's saying 6 weeks. I think 6 weeks is probably best case. Wouldn't be surprised if that's closer to 10. I think could put him in a bit of trouble as far as his Origin jersey goes, unfortunately. But we'll focus on the positives from the weekend. What are we talking, the field goal?
I think Zach's been their best player, and there's no surprise there. But I more wanted to talk about the way that he strikes the ball.
Yeah.
And I said on Kempy's bloke the other day, man, he strikes the ball better than I ever did. Even field goals. Like he could kick it 60, no problem at all. And working with Zach and knowing how much work he's put into his craft, I still think at times, and even when working with him, he kicks it too hard because he's got such a big motor and long levers to be able to do that. And he sort of went through a little bit of that troubles at the Dragons, but I've loved his move to Parramatta and what he's been able to do, and to have that moment, to go in there and you dream of winning a game off your boot. Yeah, when you're in those moments. But to do it against your old team, an emotional week, strike it, especially after he had a chance to win it, and sort of that's when he hurt himself, I think, with the foot. So, But in terms of the way he strikes the ball, the way he moves into it, the only time he gets himself into trouble is when he tries to kick it too hard, because he's got a massive kick.
Now, this all comes natural to you, assume knowledge. The perfect drop kick. Take me through it. Like, what do the mechanics look like?
Well, the first thing I always say to kids, when they say, "Oh, teach me field goals," I ask them, "Where would you set up? If you're a right footer, where would you set up?" "Oh, I would set up here." "Why?" Yeah, you got to ask them. It's I always set up right post. Right footer should set up on left post, so that by the time you come through your motion of swinging through to kick the ball, your center of your chest is where the ball's going to go. So I always had it out in front, more or less. You don't want to, Hawkins would probably struggle holding it like that.
Yep.
But I've always held it down. So you almost point to point like that, down, follow through. And field goals, it's not about you have to kick it. Some of my best field goals weren't, I didn't kick them too hard. It's all about timing.
Timing.
It's all about timing and setup for me. And the times I missed, I think I missed a couple, were poor setup. We don't take enough time or understanding, and probably the Dragons the last couple of weeks, about when we should take a field goal.
When you say poor setup, do you mean poor setup by you or from where the play the ball
Me.
was?
It's on me. I want that moment. I'm kicking it. I've got to say, Roo, get to right post. If you go to left post, you can expect a spray. Because I have to come up with a moment. And I think that's why Hawkins didn't kick it in that first moment, because you'd never ever set up. If that was Zac the other side, he would have kicked it. He's built for that moment. I reckon Hawkins has looked up and gone, shit, I'm not on my angle, I'm not in front. He kicks to a corner, because if he misses, the penalty's so severe. It's 7 tackles, Dragons go and win it.
Yeah.
So he goes to a corner and then rises up. What are you doing? We're all like, why don't you kick a field goal? The setup for him should be left post, step in behind. It's different now that you can't have blockers. Yep, stuff like that. But it's the timing. Like, if you're over the 35-metre line or 40-metre line right now and you're a halfback in the NRL, you should be able to step up and kick a field goal. You shouldn't need to pass it back from the 10 to the 25 and get a perfect 15-metre pass. It should be, we're working right post. And the best field goals are the ones that are the best planned. The best executed ones are the ones that are the best planned. Bang, we're going to take, if you're coming from the left-hand side, we're going to take 3 to right post and I'm kicking it. Whether I'm ready, whether you're ready or not, or whatever, I'm kicking. If I don't get the right look and they rush outside in, we pass, we may take one and I might have another shot. But too many times we see young halves either not think of it or they want to go closer. Mate, you're a halfback. We're paying you $500,000. This is you. This is what your job is. We want you to win the game there. That's why I think so many halves get themselves into trouble. They want it perfect. If you're 2 metres outside right post, for me, great. I've got more margin for error. Because by the time I come through, very rarely do I miss that way. I should never, ever miss left. I think I did a couple of times. I should always miss going through the ball. And by that, I mean left foot here, coming through, centre of the chest, rotating through. I should never, ever miss left.
You just pay for yourself on this show, mate. That is some good, nerdy shit. I might need a private moment after that. Unreal. Just talking about your career, what was your favourite field goal you ever hit?
West Tigers, 2010.
Yeah, the semi-final.
Yeah, there was 2 that stood out. West Tigers, 2010. The Panthers won against the Roosters in 14. People still say, oh, you didn't hit it great. Mate, line drive off the tee down the middle of the fairway is great. Doesn't matter how high it goes. Whether it goes 250 or 230, it's still a line drive.
I say you didn't hit it great, by the way.
Mate, I could not have hit it any better.
Yeah. My jury's out.
The best one I ever hit was Tigers. I just nailed that.
Yep.
I hit a couple, but it's all about timing, mate.
I'll tell you, I remember watching you hit that grand final, that 2010 semi-final, and that was the moment when you walked back and the rest of your team came with you. I just sat there and went, I don't give a fuck who they're playing next week. They're not losing this game of football.
Well, it's funny, that little sequence, because that was when Lottie got hurt and Benji kicked out, and I actually thought Benji might have a crack here, but he was probably a little bit too far out.
Yeah.
If he goes high to the corner with the cage kick, which is what we see now, we're probably pinned in that corner, but he kicked out in the full. As soon as it went out in the full, I knew straight away, I'm going for it. I don't care where we get to, I'm having a crack. And that night in the warm-up, I told you, I only had one shot. Usually I have maybe 4 or 5, kick a couple in a row. I had one shot, and I was like...
Well, like you hit it, you just went, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah. And Huey, my stepdad, goes, mate, you only had one. I said, mate, did you see how I hit it? He goes, yeah. He knew. If I got a chance, I was ready at that stage to kick it.
Was that the game that Benji tried to put in that kick and just about missed his foot?
No, that was 2011.
That was 11,
they beat us in 11, yeah.
Right, okay.
And they got called a try.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Yeah. You look back at the bunker now to when it was 10, 15 years ago. Mate, some of the tries that were given 10, 15 years ago, you go, no chance.
No chance, yeah.
Especially what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Leota, the ball slipping out. The ball slipped out the other day. We were talking about it on Bloke. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, just...
I think it was 2 over the weekend.
Yeah.
Did you hit one against Newcastle? Was it Wayne's first game?
Wayne's first
Jar?
game, 2013. Pricey's first game. 2012,
right.
beg your pardon. We kicked off
Up
the
there,
season.
wasn't it?
Knights, yeah. Benny Hornby kicked out in the full to start the year.
Yeah, good year.
And then we went to Golden Point, and I didn't even think I hit that one that good. It just snuck in the right post.
I don't remember the kick, but I remember the moment and thinking, fuck.
Yeah,
that's
it was
huge
big
against
for us
Wayne.
because we were like,
yeah, that's mad.
suck it.
How good. I'm so excited about this. The highlight of the weekend for me, there was Trell's play, there was Lomax's moment. The purity of Adam Reynolds The chip over the top, beat the man without the ball, score under the stick, come off because your hammy's tight, just everything. I fucking loved it. And I've said before, mate, I think Adam Reynolds, there is an argument that he might be the best kicker of a football that's ever lived. His range of kicking is fucking insane.
Well, yeah, his selection of kicking at the right time and that vision you put up during the week with the drawstrings out and stepping in midair. If you go down to the park and you just say you're playing with some friends, like just have one stand in front of you, try and chip over, get through and get the bounce and step the fullback in one motion and tell me how many times it takes you. And someone will go, oh mate, no. Now go and play for 40 minutes, make tackles, all that kind of stuff.
Be 37 years old or whatever he is.
His short kicking game, I would say, is the best I've ever seen. His short kicking game. Long kicking game, he's always had a big boot, but I just think his short kicking game, selection and how he goes about it was no more evident on the weekend. And to have that weapon in your arsenal, I think they've scored 33% of tries, of kicks this year. That is a dangerous stat for them. The vision to be able to know the fullback is 15 metres back, I've got to drop it 10 metres down and it's going to bounce back and chase through. You make your own luck in this game, but again, it's a selection. So many times I called a game on the weekend, it's like kick to a corner, I get it. If you stepped up and kicked it 2 plays earlier when the fullback was on the other side of the field, it's going to be worth an extra momentum swing. We just don't see it anymore. That's why old halves are still dominating. Cherry Evans, Reynolds, and that play for me, I text you straight away, like the Latrell moment, huge. Great pass, great vision, everything. Lomax, the story. To see Adam Reynolds do that is so fucking cool.
I've enjoyed his career so much. And people, I had a comment on the weekend calling him made of paper or something. The bloke's played 290 first grade games, and in the last 8 seasons, he's played 20 plus games in 7 of them.
Yeah, and has a chance now, if he's able to extend his career by a year, to maybe be the all-time leading point scorer. That's not talked about enough. In his career, to do it being so small, for one, right? The longevity doing it so small, 290 games. I think he's 300 points off maybe Cam Smith, but premiership winner for South. Yeah, when they signed him in Brisbane, you just knew it was going to be regrettable from South, and I still think they regret it.
Hey, Winston, can you get up the most points of all time? So I'm looking at one from...
It's Cam Smith, I think, on 20...
Yeah, I've got it up here. So Smith's in number 1 at 2786.
Yeah.
And then has 2418. And then Reynolds is 22 behind him. So he should break that this year.
So Haslam's second?
Yeah.
And then, because he just went past Croker. My bet was on Croker to be... If he didn't get injured the last couple of years, I reckon he would have gone...
The last few years really fucked him.
Yeah. If he had 4 good, solid years, 23 games a year, he would have been the all-time leading point scorer. But I just love that piece of play. That's just a halfback. And people go, when you talk about playing footy, what does that mean? That is what I mean. It's just yep, all right, I've set you up, I've gone deep. You've moved back 3 metres further than what you should because you think I'm going to kick to the corner. Gotcha.
Something I've spoken about with mates before, and I'm keen to get your view on it. I look at a guy like Adam Reynolds, and I wonder if we're going to have guys like him in 20 years' time, mainly because I'm not sure how many kids are going to the park and kicking 5 afternoons a week. I'm not sure how many kids are playing 3 games of backyard footy a week and kicking constantly and walking and just having a footy in their hand and doing shit like that. Do you worry about that side of it?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because when you go to training and you watch kids train, you see 2 things. I went to Grafton the other week. They want to do field goals from 40 out, or they want to kick 40-20s. So when you go and work with a kid and you say, mate, Nath, come over here, we're going to work on some stuff. And he goes, yeah, great. He instantly goes to the 40-metre line. He wants to kick a 40-20. You know how many 40-20s are kicked every year?
Not enough.
Fucking 15.
Yeah.
Out of how many games? How many kicks a year? 15. So they want to do that. They want the moment all the time. They don't want the practice of, you see hookers, they kick down to the right-hand side. And it's great, you can kick to the right-hand side, but there's no fullback, no winger, and then they get into a game and they do it and it's completely the wrong time. Yeah, I always say to kids, firstly, get your technique right, and it's about going, okay, if I can replicate this technique, of having the ball in front and being able to take my hand away, and then educate myself on the time of selection of kicks and how I'm going to kick it, who, what, when, why, how, all that kind of stuff of, okay, like Dream Buller, let's pin him down in that corner, bang, as soon as I get over the 50 next time, if he's 3 or 4 metres deeper, I can go shorter. Or, that winger's not tracking back as quick, like all that kind of stuff. And then the other part about it, this is why I was so vocal last week, Roo, is we're penalising kids for there's no reward now for short kicks.
Yep.
So if you're in under 15s and there's a dad that's coaching that has watched on the weekend, kick to a corner here, and you put a little grubber in, it goes dead, and it's a 7-tackle set. Mate, what are you doing? So instantly you go, oh shit, I'm not going to do that. I remember Hook one time. He got it. We played out at Winston. Remember this? I think it was Holland's first game in first grade, Kieran Holland.
Yeah.
And we went down to the left-hand side. I rolled it in. It rolled dead by bees, right? We get the ball back there. We win the game. We're up by 2. They get a 7-tackle set, go down. I think either Moses Mbai scores or he scores at Penrith Park to even it, and then Holland kicks a goal to win it. Why'd you kick it, Sowie? Mate, fuck. I've got to back my skill. I've worked my whole life to be able to kick the ball 3 or 4 metres in the in goal. It's rolled dead by bees, and we're saying we can't tackle for 8. We've got 80 metres for them to go with the game on the line. Like, now it's like, oh, don't kick. That's why kids like Roosters haven't got a kick try this year. Not one kick try. They've got Dom Young and Daniel Tupou, who I would say in the top 10 leapers of all time on a wing. And try score, I think he scored, 160 tries or something?
Yeah.
Like, that's just a threat to me that I just go. Same with Lomax. Fuck, hey, Zach, what are you doing this week? So, mate, all I'm going to do is come on and kick. I'm just going to kick to you on the last. But the short kicking game's penalised too much, which is why I know PVL's a huge listener of the Take the Two.
Oh, he gets around to stuff.
We have to alter the 7-tackle rule.
I'll tell you the other thing that it's really shit mean last year, mate. As you said, it's penalised too heavily. I don't think it's rewarded enough too with these stupid fucking dropouts. When you force a forced dropout nowadays, you don't get the ball back. You get a 50-50 shot to get the ball back if the team executes properly.
I would love to see the percentages. I don't even think it's 50-50.
Like you see teams concede a forced dropout now and they don't care.
No.
They're not worried in the slightest. Whereas back in your day, your forwards would go, fuck me, another 6 coming up.
Yeah.
And if they do it again, I'm gassed. I'm going to have to sub off. Whereas now it's like, okay, we'll kick it up. We'll see what happens.
It's a lottery.
Yeah, it's a
and you
lottery.
look at the 2 Latrell kicked on the weekend that were going dead and it bounced. And then all of a sudden it's over the... Yeah, there's the reward... The reward for short kicking game isn't high enough against what the penalty is.
Yeah. And
same with field goals at the death.
If that ball went dead off Latrell, like... It's then a Roosters play the ball 10 metres out with your defence. You're set. You're set.
After
You're
a
in the best spot you
35-second
can be.
rest.
You're ready to go. It's insane. You know what the worst thing is, mate? They brought in that dropout rule because of safety. So they can't walk it back now, I don't think.
No, they can't.
It's never going to change. It's here to stay, and it's just killing the short.
What about if you get a repeat set and you get the ball back, you get an extra tackle?
Yeah, sure, mate. I'd even be happy to go an extra 2 tackles.
Whatever. Let us know in the
Yeah,
comments.
they need to do something to reward that more, or we're going to lose it from the game. Like even on the weekend, mate. Like when Josh played, his first kick that he put in was a chip to the corner, and as soon as he hit it, I went, "Fuck, man!
Yeah.
Why?
Negative.
It's like the guy might score, but the odds on he won't, and you're going to get punished out the arse."
Yeah.
And of course, they go down 7 tackle sets. They go all the way down there, and I said, "Oh, the game was that plan?" He goes, "Yeah, like we got a good jumper," and I went, "Fuck." I know you've got a good jumper, but I still don't know if it's worth it in the modern game.
It's such a negative thought. It's a boring football.
And it's I hate that I
brand.
think like that.
Yeah.
But the rules force you into that.
That's right. The rules force you into 5 up for a bomb, 99 Sharks.
Yeah. And if not, mate, I'd rather you just get tackled in a corner, turn the ball over
Which
there.
is even more boring.
Heaps boring. It's
On the
dreadful.
last,
Yes.
we run it. Oh, it's okay. All right, let's condense our line. Everyone's coming out of a corner. Like it's, I'm with you.
But if you do that set properly, the opposition has to kick from their 30
Yeah.
and you're in front. But it's just crap. Anyway, that's our little tantrum for this week. That's our final topic. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we get into our question of the week?
No, I just thought it was, I listened to your review as I do every week. That's my homework when I get on the train. I just think there's some teams, like, it's going to be like this all year, where we think consistent one week and then the next week is like, holy shit, what just happened?
Yep.
And I know that the stat says that you won't concede 50 and win a title. This could be the year where it happens because the game right now is so fast.
Let me throw this one at you. Is this the year you can win from outside the top 4?
I
do you
thought
still think
Penrith
that's a
could
step
do
too
it.
far?
No, I thought Penrith could do it the last 4 years. I don't know if I don't think anyone outside the top 4 can win.
All right, let's get into our question of the week. Now, this one was sent in to me via a DM, and I just thought it was a cracker. Pick your New South Wales Blues backline. So we'll go position by position. And look, as we're going through, we'll talk context, obviously. Zac Lomax, he's going to be touch and go to make it back. Mitch Moses is going to be touch and go. Latrell's only just come back. We don't really know when Turbo's going to be fit and available. There's a lot going on there. Let's start at fullback, mate. Dylan Edwards was the one last year. Also, new coach coming in as well. I don't think he'll change too crazy, but you never know.
Yeah, Dylan Edwards for me. He'll return this week tonight as we record. He'll be playing the Dolphins tonight. So, just his work ethic.
Yep.
I think last year his work effort, the way that Nathan Cleary can trust him. I think if Cleary's a 7, he'll be the one.
Okay. Yep. I completely agree. So I won't go any further. Wingers. I think Toto picks himself on 1.
Yep.
The other wing's interesting. Who would you go first?
Is Lomax healthy?
Let's say Lomax not healthy. Let's say for game 1, because I reckon he'll be pushing shit uphill to be there for game 1 personally.
Tom Trbojevic.
Okay, sweet. So I've got the same. I've got Turbo there. So I've got him on a wing, assuming Lomax isn't there. And
if Lomax is there, I don't have Turbo in my back 5.
So if Lomax is available, Turbo doesn't make your side.
No.
Why?
Bradman Best did enough for me last year on the left-hand side to be able to play.
Yep.
I know Latrell's a left-hand side player as well, but I just look at some stage, Bradman Best's form at Origin has got to be rewarded year after year. And I wouldn't say he's played bad this year either. And a big body has done the job before. I think there's a reward there for Bradman Best.
So your centres, you're going Bradman Best and Latrell.
Yeah.
So you play Best on the left, Latrell on the right?
Yeah, Latrell's X factor, mate. He could play
wherever.
He could play wherever.
Me personally, I'd play Latrell on the left and mate right side. If I'm playing Turbo on the wing, Stephen Crichton's going to be my right centre.
Well, that's the other part. If you're going Latrell and he's going to be on and he has to play left, then Stephen Crichton's the right side.
The right side.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Stephen Crichton right now for me is if not the best, leader / centre in the game defensively. I still think the Dogs can get him some more ball.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, like when you see him get the touch and he's got that, and I just think they could get him some more ball, early ball.
He's not 100%, is he, Wince? Like there's something. He's got
he's
some
definitely
shoulder
carrying
something
because he's had that shoulder nerve issue. He said since Townsville last year, which was like around 20-ish.
Sometimes when he carries it, he looks a little bit ginger, but you feel like they could get him some more ball.
It looks like he's carrying some sort of
I'll
leg injury as well.
Give me Crichton right with Lomax or Toto.
Yep.
And give me Lomax and Latrell on the left.
Yeah.
So-
Mate, I think Best, mate, there's just been a lot of moments where I've thought this year Knights have had a try begging and he's just misguided a pass or and you know what, I'm talking from more of a Supercoach point of view because we've all got Greg Marsh here and you're just watching Best going, fuck, bro, just land that fucking pass. He's
right.
just missed his assignment
You've talked me into
on
it.
a few occasions here. But I do agree with what you said, and it's going to be something I'm going to come back to in a minute, that Bradman Best, whenever he's been called upon in Origin, he's done a job every single time. Yeah, and that can't be ignored. I agree with you on that front. Halves. Pre-season, I was of the opinion Mitch Moses should be the halfback, simply because we have been waiting for a halfback to grab Origin by the balls like that for years, and as soon as one does it, I wanted to reward Mitch Moses by giving him the jersey. He hasn't played yet, so the obvious one is Nath. And I completely agree with that. At worst, I would have probably gone Moses and Nath anyway. But I'd go Cleary at halfback. If Moses shows in the first few games, he's good to go. I think I pick him in the side.
Nah, Luai for me. That 13-7-6-1 for Penrith reunion. Luai's done enough for me, and his left foot kicking game down that side as well is important. Yeah, Mitch plays on the right at Para, plays on the right. In Origin, Nath plays on the right. I just think if you're going into a one-off game and you need a combination. See, people don't realise is Origin's about combinations as well. There's no like real big set plays, but there's times where Nat's going to be tackled and Luai can just get the ball off Yo and go to that left-hand side and get Latrell the ball. And not saying Mitch Moses can't do that. I just think that if you're talking about rewarding blokes for form and what they've done in the Origin arena, well, they won last year and Luai was there the whole time.
Yeah, Moses was the main guy, though.
I know he's the main guy, but he hasn't played this year.
As I said, if he can come back 3 or 4 weeks before and show that he's ready. Mate, he hadn't played last year either.
Mate,
I think people forget that.
Is there a world? There's no world for me. But like I heard Laurie Daly talking about he'll be in the squad or maybe a 14. I'm like, I don't see that.
Luai or
No, Mitch.
No, I think if you're going to pick him, you've got to pick him in the halves. And I think it's the same with Luai personally. If you're going to pick him, you've got to pick him in the halves.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, that makes no sense. No, I've got a lot of respect for Laurie Daly, but just from the past, team selections really worry me.
Well, and his bench is going to have to be important as well. We'll get into that next week. Do forwards next week.
Fucking critical.
Do forwards next week.
And yes, wait, yeah. Oh. I think he's got. I think the thing that worries me with the forwards at the moment is that Laurie's got too many guys to choose from.
I think it's a little bit more clear cut. I sent you a team this morning. You're on that.
Yeah, but you didn't have a bench on it, did you?
No, well,
That's where
I wanted to pick your brain about the bench. Connor Watson will be there. He's done enough.
Yes, Connor will be there.
Whether they go one out and out, front rower, and then unfortunately Jake probably misses out this year. Right?
I think Jake, without a doubt, misses
Yo's
out.
the captain.
Yep.
We'll talk about next week.
Yeah, let's save it for next week. Slow down, mate. Jesus Christ.
We've got to tease him. That's called a tease. Insert Ned's ad break right now.
I love it. Very good. Okay, so that's our backline for the New South Wales Blues this year. Let's have a look at where we went right, where we went wrong. We've got plenty to choose from this week. It was a fucking fantastic week.
I'm going first.
Yeah, take us away.
Where did we get right? Souths. I told you it was a dead set certainty. I was all over it. Tipping you last week saying that Souths were going to win the game. And
Was I on Souths or was I on Roosters? I think I was on Souths, wasn't I?
I think you're on Souths with a plus or
With the plus.
whatever.
That sounds like me.
I don't know. I don't get into that. But I said that they were the lock of the week in terms of tipping. Look, was I waddling around like a penguin in my house for a while, puckering? Sure. But we got the job done.
Yeah. My right for the week, and if you throw enough shit at the wall, eventually something will stick. Dolphins got to win.
Yeah.
And I was finally on board. So I'm 1 from 5, but I'll take it this week.
That brings me to my wrong. I was wrong on the Titans, and just going down an alley here, a dark alley. Titans fans, your team hadn't won in Sydney against the Roosters in 11 games. You turn up against a Queensland derby, and what was the crowd, Winston? Was it like...
What do you reckon it was? I got it here.
Okay. 12,360.
Slightly over. 13,167.
Right. The crowd on Sunday night, Dogs fans. Now, me and the Dogs have had a running battle since 2009, round 15, when Greg Eastwood took me out illegally. Dogs fans are the best fans in the comp at the moment. 24,000 on a Sunday night, the worst time slot at a core, the hardest stadium to get to on a Sunday night, and they've packed out the joint. You want to watch the Dogs game because it's a vibe. Titans fans, where are you?
Winston, I thought the cat call about your bike shorts would be the most offensive thing you'd say to you today, but that might have taken the cake.
Are you with me, though?
Yeah, I'm with you. Bloody oath, I'm with you.
I said $10 tickets. $10 tickets. They have to pack out a stadium. They have to do something to get that stadium filled to create an atmosphere for their players. Now, it's not just up to them. The players were putrid. But if that game was at Suncorp, Dolphins would have had 25,000 there.
Yep, agreed. Also, Saturday, 5:30, it's perfect.
Hello, straight to the strip. Not the strippers, the strip where you go and have a few brewskis. Yeah. Depends where you end up. Depends if you're married or not, I guess.
I guess it does. Depends if you have a winner. There's a bit going on. But
are you with
point
me, though?
stands. No, I agree with you. Yeah,
Where did you go wrong?
Single file. I thought Manly had put up a decent fight. I think I underappreciated this Melbourne side.
We both tipped Manly.
Yeah,
last week. I think you were a bit more coy on Melbourne, but I said if Hughes was in,
yes,
I was going to change Melbourne.
The other one, mate, I guess everyone was wrong, but fuck, I just gave the Cowboys no hope to beat Penrith.
Can I do my tip for this week?
Save it.
Okay.
That's a little headliner.
Insert
bold.
Neds. It's
You know what? It's not as bold as
It's not as bold as it should be.
It's not bold.
But I know that I spoke to a para fan. Well, Mobsy, who was on Bloke the other day. He's up and about. Para have had one
His
win.
para fan, is he?
Para have had one win. He took a photo of Rebel Sport out at Penrith that said 4 in a row. He may or may not have it for his friends. So shout out to Mobsy and the crew.
Mate, we had the live show in here the other night. We had 18.
How was it?
It was fantastic. We're going to do one in a few.
Stay tuned, crew.
Something special
coming
your way. I haven't told you this yet, but I've worked out I'm actually flying in from interstate that morning. So it might be a weekend at Bernie's, but I'll be up and about. Doubt the kid.
You have to be in the Roo crew.
You have
Something
to be.
coming big.
Tickets will be on sale soon. We'll let you know when that's coming. Very, very exciting. I was about to say, we had 18 dribblers in here, 5 of them Parramatta fans. Wild. Couldn't believe it. They hadn't won a game of football yet at that point.
Well, they have to get the CBA, Centre of Excellence, more.
Had to come and see it. Okay, good gear. Now, let's get stuck into our game previews for this week. Winst, you're going to take us through what's on Thursday night, mate?
Thursday night, 8 p.m, obviously, Dolphins, Panthers at Suncorp Stadium.
I am excited for this one. We've obviously got the Panthers at short price favourites in this game with Neds, but I'm just going to hand the floor to you because you're coming off the back fence here. It's a fucking bad day to be a back fence.
Maddie,
Talk to me.
Maddie, Mrs. Soward, I love you. She doesn't listen to the podcast anyway, so I can say what I like. I think I'm going to tip the Dolphins this week. I just think, probably if they were at Redcliffe, I'd definitely tip the Dolphins. But last week they were just onto something. I think that relief from Wolf getting his first win in the NRL, Katoa's. He's the man now. We can understand that. Hammer looked engaged, which is similar to Drinkwater. I said that on the Roo crew after a pre-match or post-match review, which I do every week. I just didn't like their defence again the other night, Penrith. I know they had a chance to win the game. They probably will come out and win this game, but I am going to go Dolphins this week.
Credit to the Dolphins. Maybe it says more about Penrith, but I thought the Dolphins would be a bit more than 290. That's a bit shorter than what I thought they'd be. Mate, I think the big inclusion here for the Dolphins, getting Tom Gilbert back and putting him on an edge. I was very much so in the camp of Gilbert sort of start in 13 and then Max Plath comes on. I think Plathy just has to be the out now 13.
Yeah, he'll play Origin this year.
I think he will
will play Origin.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, they can't both.
They can't both, but one will play.
Yeah. When you're talking about Max Plath playing Origin, do you see him being, back to our bench makeup, the 14, or is he just another forward on the bench for you?
Depends whether it's a DCE, Ben Hunt situation. Harry Grant, Ben Hunt situation. I don't think they can have both.
You've also
Ben
got
Hunt.
Tommy Dearden calculations
I
there.
don't think you have Ben Hunt or Harry Grant, Plath. I think that's too small.
Yeah.
But he may be 18th man. He'll definitely be in the squad.
He'll be there and thereabouts for sure. For the Panthers, as we said, guys, Dylan Edwards back in. Blaze Talangi gets his opportunity at 5'8".
Is that not a confusing one?
I've got no idea what to read into this, mate. No idea whatsoever. I'll tell you what, though. Blaze has potentially fallen ass first into the best time ever to be the Panthers 5'8", because if they start to win now and he's part of it, I think he'll hold the jersey.
But we've been hearing for weeks he's not ready. He's played centre. He's played 5'8". He was pulled from Cup last week. I think the Jack Cole experiment, I don't even think he'll play this week. I think he'll have a week off.
Well, yeah, I think he's injured anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's every chance he wouldn't have played this week anyway.
Yeah, if Blaze wasn't ready like 3 weeks ago or at the start of the year, what is it? If they were 4-1, would he be getting a go? Like no. So big game.
Huge.
It's a huge game for Penrith. If they're 1-5, that almost says, panic stations really. But we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. They're 1-4. Their defense didn't get any better on the weekend.
Nope.
To be honest, so they're going to have to try and fix that up on an edge. But it's a huge game for Blaze. I'm just. You look at. They've mixed and chopped and they've. I'd love to see how many same lineups they've had. Over the last 5 years that have now changed, chopped and changed. I thought McLean was good, but yeah, it puts a lot of. I think Edwards back. Look, a huge part of me wants to say Penrith will be back, and we have to give them the credit. Yeah, benefit of the doubt. We've been doing that for 4 weeks, mate.
Yeah, very
We've been
fair.
doing it since they got back from Vegas. We thought they'll roll in, they'll punch out another one, they'll punch out. It hasn't been the same. They've had glimpses, sure they've had glimpses, but that Roosters loss did something to them.
I'll tell you what I'm very glad to see.
Now watch them win by 50.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I think will help them out a lot, mate, is that they've spent this year, the start of it, screwing around. Liam Martin's on the right, but Sorensen and Isaiah Papali'i, I think it's got to be Sorensen out there, personally. I think he's just got to use IPAP through the middle.
Yeah, he was bored as an edge player, wasn't he? Like his best footy for Para was on an edge. People will say I'm mad. Like, is Liam Martin more useful in the middle, aggression-wise?
I'm not against it.
And defending on an edge. Because at the moment, a lot of their stuff, when they go to the left-hand side, teams go to the left-hand side. If you look at the Bunnies game especially, I know Winston will have some clip cut up while I talk about this, but Liam Martin's getting sucked in a lot to the middle, which is putting pressure on the edges, and that's usually what happens. What
do you mean he's getting sucked in the middle?
So if
Explain
there's a
that to
forward
people.
defender, let's just say, here's Sowie, yeah. I'm probably out near the wing.
Yep.
But let's just say there's a forward defender there. For argument's sake, I'm defending at 3, okay? A lot of the time, Liam's having to come in to help the middle defenders here, which is putting pressure on the edges, and they're not moving together. They're not making the same decisions. So it's whether I'm coming in and then the centre's too wide and not following me in. Ideally, you want your 5 defender to be taking you up a little bit more. I think that could help them a little bit, because when it's in the middle of the field or on a short side and it's 4-on-4, you want your edge to go up and it's man on man. At the moment, Liam Martin's actually getting sucked in a little bit, which I think Nat bit on one, the first one the other night for Tuolangi, and then they didn't all follow. So they're disconnected in terms of, right, if we go in, we're all in, but they're not getting that. Usually defences, you want to see them come up like that and you come up together. Right at the moment, we're seeing that.
Yeah,
they're having to come in because their middle's probably getting rolled a little bit more than usual, and it's putting pressure on their edges. So, yes, their edges have been not great, and they're making some bad reads where they just need to scramble. It's not going to be perfect, but he's getting sucked in a lot on that right edge.
All right, I'm going Panthers. You're taking the upset?
Yeah.
I respect it. I
Right,
like it.
Dolphins for me.
Yeah, I'm into it. Take us to Friday night, Wins.
Friday, 6 p.m., everyone's favourite time slot. It's Dragons-Titans, very Friday, 6 p.m., and that's at Wynn Stadium.
Now, I don't want to disrespect your former club, but this game lacks a little bit of soul for me, Soward. I'm just not feeling much from it. I don't know if I'm being unfair. Dragons at $1.60 on Neds, Titans $2.35. You get what I'm saying? Or
No, Tino's a big one.
Huge,
for the
enormous,
Titans.
yeah.
And it just screams bounce back mentality at home. Tough time slot for the Titans. They come down Thursday. They go along Wollongong Beach Friday afternoon. All of a sudden, it's shit, we've got to play. Moses Sully just running amok on an edge. Dragon, I'll take Dragons, but Verrills back, Firma back to an edge, Fafita back. Interesting about Fafita, you said they have to start him. I disagree. I just think he's made for the middle. Less is more. Less instructions, more wrecking ball. Hey, mate, we're going to give you, if you're going to, essentially, Tino, can you get out the first 25, 27? Yep, great. Then we're going to take you off. Fafita, you got 13 minutes before halftime, and you got 10 after halftime. And in that time, we're going to bring Tino back on for Fodawaker or RCG. On an edge, 80 minutes. He's got to wait for the ball all the time with 2 halves. I've said this, with 2 halves that are still learning their craft to be halves. They're fullbacks that have been getting it out of the back of shape. It's different in the front line. In saying that, this game could be 30 all.
I got to tell you with Fafita, I don't care anymore where he plays, where he does. He's just got to show some fucking hunger. You see Tino, he subs on and he pushes people out of the way to get to the ball and get it. Fafita, mate, I understand when he plays on the edge, it's hard to get the ball off those halves and whatnot, but fuck, I want to see that.
In the middle, he's
hunger from
forced
Fafita.
to be in the action.
No, I'm not convinced he would be. I'm really not. I'm not
He
convinced.
has to be, otherwise you're off.
Yeah, okay. But I think that at some point, Fafita has got to take it upon himself, though.
I would love to have him in the middle. I think him ripping and tearing. Dragons, 2 games they've lost this year by a point. It just screams Dragons to me.
We mentioned Liam Martin before. I love this Dylan Egan. He reminds me of Liam Martin.
So, agree.
He's got a bit of shit in him.
A couple of years ago, He probably wasn't quite ready. I still think he plays above his weight in terms of the workload that he gets through. But I know Flano wanted him to work on his defence has always been strong, but it's the carrying the ball and how you're going to get post-contact meters when you're a little bit small. I reckon he's taken a little bit of leaf out of book from Maxi Plath and just gone, effort, we're going to go straight through the middle and see where we end up. I thought that, are we happy with the Cook-Little situation? What's going on there? We thought that was going to be a weapon for them. It hasn't been a weapon.
Yeah, I don't know if Little's underdone. I mean, we're 5 weeks in now. I stand by what I said in the preseason. I'd have him coming on after 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
You think it's playing with him that he's waiting until the second half and he has to get on?
I think, yeah. And I just, mate,
I thought that would be a weapon for them though.
Damien Cook is career-wise the better hooker. I think Little is the better hooker right now, though.
And Cook off the bench.
No, I'd start Cook for the first 20 minutes, let him get through that stuff, then bring Jacob Little on and just let him play the 60 minutes. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
Similar to what they did with Riley Smith the other day. Like, I love Riley Smith. I want him to play 80 minutes. When I saw that on the team list, I went, okay, I actually get this.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't love it, but I get it. But I'd rather them do that than carry 2 hookers and only use Riley Smith for 30. I just think they're not getting enough out of Little. And like I said it the other week, and that they won a game and he came on and did well. And Kempy was like, oh, well, you could argue, he came on fresh. And I was like, yeah, but like you lost to Canterbury in week 1, in my opinion, because you didn't put him back on. Would you agree, Vince? Like as soon as Little come on, he had you guys on the back foot.
Yeah, Little carved us up like completely.
And it was in the last 20. Like he went up to 35 minutes this week, so he's getting more minutes. It's why I wonder if maybe he's still coming back from injury. He's not 100%, whatever. But I think that needs to be the goal to get him to that 50, 60 minute mark.
Dragons for me.
Yeah, Dragons for me in that one. When's next one, mate?
Next one, Friday, 8 p.m, Broncos Roosters at Suncorp Stadium.
So in this one, we have got the Broncos. They're at $1.18. Sydney Roosters at $5. I don't know if they're going to win, but I love the value on the Chooks. I was talking to one of the Roosters starters on Sunday, mate, and they haven't, put it this way, they haven't forgotten what happened in round 1. They're looking forward to this one. I don't know if they win, but I think they get damn close, the Chooks.
Must watch TV. I don't think the gap is that big in terms of Savala coming in at 7. I can't wait to watch him play. You've watched him play more than I have, but I can't wait to watch what their attack looks like, how he approaches it, how he kicks the footy. Like I just want to nerdy or want to popcorn undies, me, can of Coke, Savala in the 7. Lenu back to the bench, Butcher at prop, Markey, Nwanga Tuasi back on the wing. Bench.
We're assuming he comes in on the wing. Apparently he's going to replace Dom Young.
Yeah. No Adam Reynolds for the Broncos. So Ben Hunt.
Well, he's been named at the moment, but will...
Surely not. If you go off with hamstring tightness from kicking a goal from in front, you are 1 week at least.
Yeah, he has been named.
With
so
the Dogs game coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yep. I wouldn't be playing him, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, Brisbane lost to Canberra a couple of weeks ago when things were rolling. Last week, 48-24. Tigers missed 3 goals. I think it should have been 48-30. 78 points for a team that we all think can win the competition in a game. Not for me. Even Melbourne on the weekend conceded 20.
Mate, the Broncos went in at halftime up. I thought the Tigers were the best team in the first half.
Hey, yeah, they should have been 12-6. Hey, Hugo. Can't wait to watch you play, kid.
Yeah, I'm keen to see how he goes.
I'm going Broncos because that should be the result. But there's a big watch on 2-horse race Roosters. They've been in this position once before. Broncos haven't.
I'll tell you what, just being at that New South Wales Cup game the other day, Savala, he was pulled from it. He ran the water and he was helping out and everything. There was a lot of first graders there. You can tell they love that fucker. They love him.
He's a cool name too. He's hot too.
Yeah. He's going to do well. Super Saturday, where are we starting?
Sharks Manly at Optus Stadium over in Perth.
Did you ever play over there?
Nah.
Never?
Not at Optus, nah. No. I've got a bold statement for this though.
So Cronulla, they're at $1.48 on Neds. The Manly Seagulls at $2.65 over there in Perth. Bold statement, hit me.
Am I crazy to think that the loser of this game misses the 8?
I think this is a very early season definer potential. I think especially for Cronulla. I think if they go to Perth and they lose this game, I think it's fucking head noise central for the Sharkies all of a sudden.
So they go over to Perth. So it's a neutral ground. They're the they're the home team. Then they come home from Perth and they play Sunday afternoon at McDonald Jones Stadium. We know what that's like up there.
Yep.
Probably Old Boys Day. They have one every week, which makes it impossible to play up there. Then after that, they go to Leichhardt Oval and play the West Tigers, who aren't the West Tigers of the last 3 years. They could lose the next three. They could win the next three. I'm not sure. I'm going to go out and say it. Put a time stamp on it. Loser of this game, Manly v Sharks, misses the 8.
The next 3 games for the Sharkies are 3 games that they'll be favourites for, that everyone will say they should win. And
Yep.
if they do win, no one will give a fuck. If
Yep.
they lose, though, it'll be chaos. They find themselves in a bad spot at the moment, the Sharkies. But you
For
go and win
context.
it out. For context, yeah.
Manly play Dragons when they come back.
Yep.
And then they play the Panthers. So I'm telling you, I'm onto something here. Loser, misses the 8.
And I think, mate, the thing that when the Sharkies have been under pressure over the last few years and they've played those big games, I think it's been like the kicking games of Nath Cleary and these guys that have really put them to the sword. Old DCE, he knows what he's looking at this
He
week.
does. And I thought they missed a trick on the weekend. They started with Toff Sipley against the mobile. Utoi Kamani, that was the best game he's played for Melbourne.
Correct. Yeah.
Loiero, best game he plays the best game every week. He's taken his 6.5 to 7 to an 8.5, 9 every week.
Yep.
It's a huge watch. Manly have to respond because we all thought a couple of weeks ago, the way they started round 1, Manly top 4, this is their year. Turbo gets hurt. DCE announces he's leaving. Holy shit, the roof's fallen in. What are we doing? We're at home. It's 18-10. At halftime on the weekend, Roo, they came off and I looked around at Dale Brown. I said, mate, they're on top. They're losing 18-10. They're on top. They came out and lost 48-24 or 48-20 something. Like it was, Melbourne were ridiculous, but there's something, yeah. Loser misses the 8.
How is the big man, by the way?
Great.
I'm a huge fan.
I'm calling for the first time with Daryl at the Easter show this week.
Fuck yeah.
Daryl Broman and Mark Geyer.
How good.
So it's still weird me throwing over to Daryl Broman.
I
get
that.
nervous. The last 2 weeks I've done it with a big man. I get really, really nervous. And I mean, he won't listen to this pod, but I kind of still pinch myself that I'm calling the game, let alone calling it with Daryl Broman and Mark Riddell and like throwing down and going, hey, Piggy, what's going on down at the sideline? Like usually you're that guy that go, yeah, mate, yeah, it's good down here, you know, but I'm going, hey, Pig, what's going on down at the sideline? Like I still get goosebumps about that. So
That's
shout out
mad.
to the boys.
I love that. I'm going to take Manly in that one. I'm going to take an upset. What are you
Sharks
doing?
for me. Sifa back to the bench. Gives them a bit more versatility.
Yeah. Next game, mate.
To finish off the Perth doubleheader, it's Souths Cowboys, 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, so the Cowboys, they're at $1.75. They're the favourites. South Sydney at $2.10. I personally think, mate, we're going to see 2 upsets in Perth. I'm going to take South Sydney in this one. Guys out. Ewan Aitken comes back in. Bud Sullivan. Yeah, I'm keen to hear what you think of Bud. I'm very keen to see him for a few weeks with Wayne Bennett. I think he can do some really special things, Bud. I think he's just been in some bad situations over the last few years that haven't got the best out of him. And I'm so excited to see Latrell Mitchell and Wayne just go, do your fucking thing.
Cowboys for me, that was career-defining win last week because they were under the pump. Ruben Cotter comes out, your arguably best player, your most influential player in Scott Drinkwater has never looked more engaged than what he has been the last 2 weeks after a slow start. I think they keep the party rolling, Dearden over there, a few changes for South Sydney. The thing about Bud is always been supremely talented. Remember watching him play for Steelers, win an
He's a
SG
freak.
ball. Freak.
Yeah.
Can do freaky things. It's the consistency of the little things in Bud's game that he has to get right being at halfback.
Yeah.
And it showed me that he's been underway and he came on, I think he ran the ball in the first half when he got called into action. And whether you like it or not, usually you would take a backward step and the next time you rush a kick and, you know, that's what we've seen in the past. That's what the past. He stepped up and moved forward. And I think that's Wayne giving him the keys saying, hey, kid, you've earned your spot in the team. And he throws a show and go, puts him back on his back. And then from that moment on, he's just settled in to be a first grader. He wants a chance to be a 7. I think he's going to earn the chance over the next month now with no Humphreys. Jeez, it tells you a lot about Dodd, though. Like, I know he's unlucky getting suspended, but
Yeah. I watched that game the other
he hasn't
day.
even been in the side at 14.
Mate, I think the suspensions saved him a little bit because, mate,
Wasn't in?
Wayne Bennett was sitting 3 rows in front of me. He left with 15 to go. He'd seen enough, I think.
Cowboys for me.
Yeah. I'm going to take South in an upset there. Late game. What do we got?
Eels Raiders in Darwin.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Eels, $2.80 on Neds. Canberra Raiders, $1.44. Shout out to the Eels. I feel like every time they go here, they always take a Queensland team there. I can never make sense out of it. Shout out to them for taking the Canberra Raiders to Darwin. I love that. Good little tactical play. Without Lomax, though, I can't take Parramatta. I've got to take Canberra.
Canberra for me.
Yeah, might
That's
be
an easy one.
Less said better there.
Yeah.
They'll pull our pants down now. You watch. Sunday footy. Talk to me, Vince.
Sunday, 2 p.m. Can I also just say how good is it that the 6 p.m. game's gone? But Sunday, 2 p.m., Storm Warriors at Amy Park.
Psychopath loves the 6:15.
Love it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oddball,
you get
mate.
to finish off a couple of schooners
Absolute
straight
oddball.
into bed. Mate, when it finishes at 6 o'clock, it's like, oh, shit, I've got 2 hours full. Got to get everyone into bed.
Serial killer stuff. Melbourne Storm. Have we done that one, Vince?
Nah,
Nah,
Storm Warriors.
Warriors.
Sweet.
Amy Park.
Amy Park. We have got the Storm, very short price favourite, $1.15. The New Zealand Warriors, $5.60. Melbourne are the only team that I feel like I know what I'm going to get week to week, and I know it's going to be pretty good. I can't look past Melbourne.
Melbourne Storm right now are a zinger combo with a Pepsi or Pepsi Max.
Oh, he's starting to turn.
Oh, I'll give you a little bit of
I like
credit.
it.
6 nuggets for the drive home. You know exactly how it's going to be. You know where you're going to end up in a couple of hours when you eat it. Melbourne for me.
Yeah, put a roll of toilet paper in with it. Melbourne for me, I think they'll be too good in this one. I think they could put on a bit of a score. Warriors coming off a bye, to be fair, but yeah, I can't go past Melbourne. Last game of the week, mate.
Sunday, 4 p.m., Knights Tigers in Newcastle.
Knights at $1.65, West Tigers $2.25, Newcastle at home, always a tough prospect. I'm liking an upset here. If Jerome plays, I'm taking the Tigers. I assume he will play. He's been named, had a bit of a shoulder problem, I believe. If Jerome plays, I'm taking the Tigers. If he doesn't, I'll go with Newcastle. What are you thinking?
A lot of changes for the Knights.
Yep.
McCarthy on the wing. Phoenix at 7. I think he's been a revelation going back to the 9 role. Brayley starts. KPP back to an edge gives a little bit of a tickle.
Yep.
Arthur 14. Tyrone Thompson makes his debut. I'll be calling this game live from the Easter show with a chip on a stick. You like the chip on a stick? Or overrated?
I think a little bit overrated, if I'm completely honest.
Chip on a stick with a solo.
Rogue as shit, man.
Anyway,
Fuck.
we digress.
Wild.
I'm going to take. There's a little bit that worried me about the Tigers last week when the game was on at 12-6. Like, are we? Holy shit, we're leading Brisbane in Brisbane. Holy shit, it's 14-12 before we go into the break, and then the ill discipline sort of started.
Yeah.
I'm going to take. It's a bit like last week. If Luai's in, I'm with you. Tigers can win this game. I just don't think the Knights have 2 bad games in a row. Like at home, it'll be old boys' day, as I said. KPP back. We're a big KPP fan. Knights.
I think the other huge in for the Tigers, Jarrell Skelton. He's enormous for them too. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Knights. If Luai plays, I'll take him. Mate, you've seen the change, Phoenix Crossing coming in. Jack Cogger, not on the extended. I think he dislocated a finger on the weekend. That might have been worse than that. Considering they've also got Matt Arthur off the bench, I don't know if you've seen much of him.
Yep.
I really like the look of him. I love Jaden Brayley too. I think they can be a better footy side with Phoenix at 7, personally.
Really?
What do you reckon?
Puts a lot of pressure on Fletcher Sharp. You know, when it's free flowing, they're dangerous. It's giving him open space, but we saw the other night a smothering defense. I know they only had 15 players.
Yep.
We give them a bit of leeway, but
Yeah.
what's it look like when you're coming off your own end time after time? Like, who takes over all the kicking if they're handling KP on the weekend? I liked what he did at 9, but he's a vocal communicator. We follow each other on Instagram. That's why I'm tipping the Knights.
Yeah, I don't know what's
It's
going on.
one of those
there,
flip
but-
games. Like if I didn't watch it and you rang me and go, mate, Knights are winning 24-6, I'd go, okay. And if you rang me and go, mate, Tigers are up 18-0, and you go, okay. Like that's
Yeah.
where it's at this year.
Mate, I'll just say one guy from the Tigers that I've been impressed with. He's just got 1 or 2 errors every week. If you can get them out of this game, this Fanua Bolle.
Oh, couldn't agree more.
Right, just that. There's just 2 brain lapses every week that you want to pull your hair out, but everything else is tremendous. He can play big minutes. He's got a big motor. He's got a nice offload. He's got good hands, but there's just always just something that you go, fuck.
Yeah.
Just don't do that.
The signing of the year, Terrell May, has helped guys like Fanua Bolle
Yeah.
blossom into this purple patch. Agree, though. Like, oh, man.
And they're not even trying too hard errors. They're just dumb errors most of the time. He's just got to get out of his game.
I'm a huge fan of his play, and I think he's been better since he doesn't have to be the distributor. A couple of years ago when Sheens had him, I think he had him in the middle, like trying to play at the back, and it was just all. And a lot of teams are going, Dogs don't play a lot out the back. It's a lot of frontline stuff.
I'll tell you one that really surprised me the other day, and this is niche as fuck. You'll appreciate this. That really surprised me. The other kid that I've always liked there is Justin Matamua. See much of him?
Yeah.
I've always really liked him, and I was talking to a mate the other day who mentioned to me that he's actually playing Ron Massey Cup at the moment. You know, Matamua's playing down there at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, played last weekend.
Is he not in the top 30?
Hold on, let me double check that.
West got absolutely belted by Manly at Four Pines in the New South Wales Cup. Fa'atape played, I think. Scored 1 or 2 tries.
Yeah, maybe do your own research on that one, but I'm pretty sure I was told the other day, and it absolutely fucking blew me away. I can't find his name there at the moment. But
was he?
I could be wrong, but who would be there? They've got a west side. They're Parramatta, aren't
Are they Wenny? Oh, no, Wenny. Wenny's Para.
So are they like right Eastwood? Are they? Anyway.
Surely he's not playing.
He played the lock on the weekend for Ryde Eastwood Hawks in Ron Massey Cup. Unless there's 2 Justin Matamuas, which
is he not
maybe there
top
is out
30
there.
at Tigers?
I thought he was. I really like him.
Can we find out?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it now.
Yeah, good luck finding
Cat
him.
would have had it done, mate.
Yeah, I bet.
Cat would have had him in the studio sitting on the lounge waiting to come in. But yeah, I thought that one was...
That's a weird one. Niche has to love it.
Whilst we're at it, the Glebe Dirty Reds, their halfback last week.
Dean Vare.
Yeah, so good. I'm
Dean
into it.
Fuddy.
Unreal.
And Craig Garvey's their 9 and captain, I think.
Yeah, I think he was definitely there last year, Garvey.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my mates has come out of retirement to play for them in the back row. Azapelli Fine. Did you ever play against Azza?
Yeah.
Played Bulldogs, Tigers. Shout out to the Glebe Dirty Reds. Didn't have that on the bingo card today. Shout out to Azza. Scored a try last week. Good to see. Now, I don't want to get too distracted. I want to get back to the important stuff. Chip on a stick and a solo. Talk to me.
Well, at the Easter show, usually you go the fresh lemonade.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So that's a little bit too sweet for me, so I'll go a solo. Same, I think solo's underrated.
The Thirst Crusher.
The Thirst Crusher. It's
Chip on a stick's the curly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Chip, another poll. A chip on a stick or a Dagwa dog?
Oh, the dogs, they're a bit too smacky for me.
Really?
Oh, they're pretty full on. You talk about shitting yourself after KFC. Dagwood will do some bad things to you.
At the Easter show, they're about that long.
That might do us for today. Shout out to Ned's supporting the show once again. You have got my multi for this week, which I will get up. We've been going like a busted, but I promise you we're looking for a bounce back. Tui Pelotu, Angus Crichton. I like Angus Crichton going at Jack Gosden, that right edge for the Broncos there. He's at $4.80, Angus. I think that's unreal value
Is he
this
playing
week.
Jack Gos?
Yeah.
Jaden Hunt on an edge?
Jaden Hunt's on the other edge.
Right.
Picure is out.
Oh.
Yeah.
So who's the edge for Roosters on that one?
That edge will be Wong. Roosters are a serious sniff at a little Michelle Pfeiffer there. Tui Pelotu, Angus Crichton, Ryan Pappenhausen and Ellie Qatar. I think the Storm put on a bit of a show. Like Angus matchup, and the left edge for the Dragons will score every week. $29.46 on Neds. Stay tuned, guys. We will have an announcement in the Roo Crew over the next few weeks for a live show the two of us will do.
Dun, 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 dun.
The other night we did it on a Thursday night, which was good. We're actually going to lean into a Super Saturday here. So stay tuned for details. We're both on curfews at the end of the game.
Yes.
Plugs being pulled.
Well, 2 games, a lot of shit being
A lot of shit
talked.
going on, yeah.
Live show, few beers, rowdy.
Shout out to the people that came on Thursday, but I will not be leaving the Newmarket
And you have to wear a headgear if you buy a
tomorrow
ticket.
o'clock.
Should we do something like that?
Fuck yeah.
If you buy a ticket for the Roo Crew, stay tuned. We'll come up with some. If you're going to give
How many
away
headgears
prizes,
you got at home?
this is my last one.
Is that your last one?
Yeah, you said you wanted one. That's
I'll cherish that.
one of my last ones. Mate, if I leave, it's leaving with me.
You're not leaving, mate. If I have anything to do with it, you're going nowhere fast, okay? All right. Thank you for joining us once again, guys. Leave your questions in the comments for next week. We're going to do the Blues forward pack and bench makeup there, but any questions you've got, send them in. Get niche, get weird. We'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website